All right, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me again. This is going to be day 3 of my 5-part series that I'm doing on suicide prevention in the veteran community. The first day we talked about identity, just to briefly go over that. Once again, it's one of the most important things that you need to grab a hold of, that you need to really get strong in your life in order to start growing, in order to start finding success in what you're doing. So we got to find identity. When we talked about identity, we talked about as a military veteran, your heart, your identity is as a warrior. You signed that contract, you did your time, you were in the United States military in some kind of aspect, under some kind of umbrella, whether it was combat MOS or administrative, it doesn't matter. If you joined the United States military, your heart is the heart of a warrior, and that's what you got to pull on for your identity, and then show others how to do that as well. So, and then yesterday we went over purpose. Not just finding a purpose in your life, but living your life with purpose. So the two differences there is finding what burns inside of you, what drives you, what really gets at you, getting involved in that and making that your passion and your purpose in life. But then also not just knowing what that is, but doing everything in your life with purpose. So everything that you do, make it intentional. Do it with purpose. Do it with intensity. Do it with some kind of a purpose in mind. That way you're not just finding a purpose in life, but you're also living your life with purpose. So we got identity and purpose. And so day 3 now, we're going to get into some more detail. This is where I like to have a lot of fun with this, because this is where we start getting into how are you going to use your military training and apply it to your life now. And one of the commonalities that we have, no matter what branch of service you are in, I'm a Marine, so sometimes, we talk about Air Force not knowing how to use their weapons. But the fact is that they did go through boot camp. They were given a weapon. They were shown how to use it. And in all branches of the military, we are shown how to use our weapons. And that is one of the most basic principles that we have when we join and throughout our careers is weapons maintenance and weapons proficiency. We learn how to take our weapon apart, how to put it back together, the different nomenclatures about it, what it can do, what it's capable of, keeping it clean, how to use it, how to carry it, what to do with it. It's just all these things that we learn and we become proficient with it. So how we're going to tie that into what we do in our life now outside of the military is now we have to find the weapons that pertain to our battle in life now. So we get out of the military, we find ourselves back in the civilian world, back in society, and we're trying to figure out what do I do here? This is unfamiliar territory for me. Well, let's make it familiar. Let's use words and jargon that you're familiar with, right? So now that we're in a new battle, we're fighting an enemy that we can't necessarily see. We're fighting PTSD and guilt and depression and anger and sadness and rage and shame and all those things is what we're fighting, is our enemy now. We got to find out what weapons are effective to that enemy and how can I become proficient with those weapons and how can I keep the maintenance up on those weapons so that when my enemy engages me, I can effectively engage my enemy back with the weapons that I have learned to use now. So what we're going to look at is what are these different weapons that we have now. And some of these might sound like hobbies. They might sound like just what some people might do is just like a little side thing because it's fun or to kill time. But what we can use them as is something that is actually vitally important to our life and is going to help us grow and succeed and not be held down and not be hit by the enemy so hard anymore. All right, so for me, it was writing. I started writing. I needed to get everything from my head that was bugging me, all my nightmares, all my emotions that were in my head. And my goal was to get them from my head and put them down on paper. That way, I could create that emotional separation from what was driving me insane. And I could put it on paper, and then from there I was able to share it with other people and say, hey, look, this is what I'm going through without actually having to speak it. Because speaking my stories and my experiences were just leading to arguments and was leading to just falling apart. And so I realized if I put it on paper and share it with others, then it works out better that way. So writing became my weapon. Anytime the enemy came at me in sadness and shame and guilt and anger and rage and depression and PTSD were just coming in and overwhelming me and I was being attacked, what I used to fight back was writing. And being able to write helped me process my emotions and help me understand what was going on. And now PTSD is not hitting me so hard. Shame's not hitting me so hard because I'm processing what's going on. I started drawing for a while. I got big into drawing, and that helps. I believe that creative outlets cause your brain to work in a different way and just allow you to process what's going on in a different fashion. It allows your brain to work differently than what it's used to, and that's going to make a difference in your life. So creative outlets, that's a weapon that you can use. Writing, drawing, singing, doing music, playing a musical instrument. Learn how to cook, be a chef, start gardening. I know veterans that knit and sew because it's just something that they're able to do that helps them process what's going on in their body and in their mind, and it helps them come to a level of peace and calmness, and that in itself is going to fight the enemy. It's not about hooking and jabbing anymore. It's not about pulling a trigger anymore. It's about how can I fight off the enemy that's coming at me now. We got to know our enemy, right? Before we deploy to combat zones, we learn about our enemy. This is who you're going up against. These are the weapons that they have. This is how they use them. This is what they look like. This is how we can effectively engage against them. And that's what we learn against a physical enemy. So take that principle and apply it to your life now, and know that you have an enemy here. You're in a new war, you're in a new battle, but know this enemy, and know this is not an enemy that you can throw a right hook at. This is not an enemy that you can fire a rocket at. This is an enemy that requires different weapons. So creative outlets is one way. Physical fitness, working out. I used to lift weights like crazy, and that helped me process. That helped relieve stress. Go for runs, walks. Find something healthy that is going to bring success and growth to your mind and to your body, and that is going to be your weapon against the enemy. So that being said, find your weapon, find what works best for you, and become proficient with it. Just like in the military, we had, every year we had to go to a range and qualify with our weapon, right? And so throughout the year, you're practicing and you're becoming proficient with it, and you're learning everything about your weapon, taking it apart, putting it together, cleaning it, misfire drills. You know that weapon inside and out, and you can use it just by muscle memory. So when you're in a combat situation and rounds are flying down range and everything's blowing up around you, just muscle memory knows how to use that weapon, and your instincts allow you to effectively engage the enemy because you know how to use that weapon so well. Same concept here. Don't just write, don't just draw, don't just utilize your weapon when you're in a crisis or a combat situation with your enemy here at home. Use that weapon and become proficient with it during times when you're not being engaged, during times when it is, peaceful. And you can sit down and go, okay, I'm going to write today, and you start getting used to it, and your mind starts getting used to doing this. Okay, this is just what I do, and so when the enemy comes at you, you just do it, and without even thinking about it. And so you have to know find your weapon, what works best for you, become proficient with that weapon, know everything about it, and use it and practice with it when things are not in a crisis situation. And then when the enemy starts to come at you, you can engage back and you can fight off the enemy and be done with it for that battle until the next time he comes around. Because I'm telling you, it's never going to stop. It's never going to just be easy one day. It's going to get easier, and the attacks are going to come a lot more sporadically as time goes on, and you get better at this, but it's never going to stop. So understand that there's never going to come a day when it's just all done. The enemy's still going to come at you, but the more proficient you become with your weapon, and the more confident you are in your weapon system, the better you can engage the enemy, and the enemy's not going to come at you as much anymore because they're scared, right? So that's the goal here. So what we're going to start doing, we'll start doing today, tomorrow, and the next day is talking about your military training, how to use that, and how to apply it to your life now. We're going to take those principles and we're going to insert them into our life now, into this enemy that we fight now, and we're going to be successful in overcoming this enemy. So identity, purpose, and now we're getting into your military training. So right now what I need you to do is sit down and just figure it out. What is my weapon? What do I enjoy doing? What can I do? And if you don't know, just try some things. Try writing. Try just anything. and see what works and just start getting better at it. And start becoming better with your weapon system. So that's my challenge to you today. Find out what your weapon is and start becoming proficient with it. That way you can start engaging the enemy and you can fight it off, and it's going to start getting easier as you get further down the road. I promise you this. It's not going to be right overnight. It's not going to be easy off the bat, but you do this, you stay committed to it, and you stay motivated, and you drive forward and press forward, and you keep fighting at this. It's gonna get better, I promise you that. So thank you again for watching these. Please share these videos with those who need them. Please leave comments for encouragement, to just ask questions. Let's get a discussion going. And I'll be back tomorrow for video number 4. I love you all. Talk to you later.